going back and looking at all the science fiction films in your career, there's a real divide, it feels like. And I'm curious about that. It seems like over time, you've grown increasingly suspicious, concerned. That's the sort of the warmth that we remember from Close Encounters in E.T. has kind of turned a bit. You look at AI, War of the Worlds, and Ready Player One. Does that reflect your feelings about our future, where we're going?
I think any filmmaker would not be completely honest if they said that there's a lot of the subconscious that rubs off on every choice. Every choice that we make to decide genre or decide on a particular book or a script that we find or have always wanted to do, it always comes out in the wash. And as I've gotten older and I've become more aware of the world as it was, as it is currently, and as I hope it could be someday, that's going to always rub off on the work. The only reason I wanted to make War of the Worlds is because I thought that George Pell and Byron Haskin, the director, made a perfectly great film. In the first War of the World with Gene Barry, that was a great movie. I didn't need a remake, but 9/11 affected me in a very profound way, and I wanted to find some metaphor for 9/11. That's why I resurrected War of the Worlds, because it's much more analogous to me.
Do you see E.T. as a demarcation point? Because as I charted that shift in sci-fi storytelling, you weren't there at the time, and then you had kids after that film, and I was wondering, it's unusual to be slightly more pessimistic once you've had children, but I wonder if that affects you too.
Well, E.T. made me want to. I mean, it really did. I mean, I was such a opportunist in terms of, in a way, I wanted to tell this story or tell that story. I didn't have much of a personal one. And I remember after making E.T., there was something about that for me, I didn't want those kids to go home. I just didn't. I mean, Drew Barrymore never really went home. I kind of adopted Drew. Help, right until last week when we were on text together. So I'm still very much in that sense in Drew's life, but I love those kids. And the movie I shot in continuity, I thought it was very unfair for child actors. They had to shoot part of the third act. The first week of shooting was you're trying to save money to do everything in the same set before you strike the set and move on. So I had a really good production manager who was able to get the budget where I can make the film for $10 million and still spend the extra money to shoot the whole thing in continuity, which gave the kids a continuity about who they were inside these characters. So by the time the film was over, we shot goodbye with E.T. I mean, the last scene they're saying about E.T. is the last scenes we shot. And so it just compounded the sadness of separation for all of them and for me. And I just remember when that was over, I said, I think I discovered how great it's going to be someday to get better. And that's where it began.
Do you always have a sad feeling when you complete a shoot?
Not always, sometimes I can't wait to get off the movie.